This is Maginoni, and this is my why I think Forever Evil is the biggest pile of crap I have seen, and this is only after the first issue that came out. Now, I'll put it this way: there's gonna be multiple couple parts to this video, and then there's gonna be some major spoilage in case you haven't been reading reviews and stuff. Let's go with a non-spoiler part right now. Now, DC had the I don't know, let's call it the wonderful idea to basically do the Trinity of Evil storyline, which was really unfocused, rushed through, and then huge explosion at the end of a storyline that opens up the Forever Evil. Then they decide, okay, well, we got to have something cool because, they killed all the superheroes, so let's have a month of villains. Which, if you were a newbie at reading comic books, you might think, you know what, that sounds like a great idea. You know, we get to understand who these villains are. We get good tie-ins, and this is a great job, DC. Well, let's put it this way: there's 52 issues with hologram covers, and then some with non-hologram covers. If you were to buy all 52 issues, you're going to spend over $200 just to get all of these holograms. That is an insane amount of money. And if by chance you decide, okay, I'm going to skip the holograms and you're going to buy the omnibus, then they're going to nail you for every single one of these issues you buy, and then the omnibus on top of it. And what really pisses me off the most about this whole thing of this money grab, unoriginal money grab, is this is not the first time DC has done this. I know you're shocked. I know you people are going, what do you mean this isn't the first time DC's done it? DC wouldn't recycle an idea like this. And you know what? On the back of my head, I knew something was going on. My spider sense was tingling. But it wasn't until somebody made a comment on my video, on one of my videos, and then boom, everything opened up, and I remembered everything. This is Final Crisis and Faces of Evil. Final Crisis is The Day Evil Won. What do you think this is? The Day Evil Won. They're using the same tagline. I'm sure you're probably wondering, well, geez, what's Forever Evil? Forever Evil was this. What they did was they took select characters, and then they put Forever Evil on top. They threw the villain's name, put the villain on the cover just like this, minus the hologram, because they couldn't figure out how to do that back then. And then it was an origin issue or some stupid piece of shit like that. That's what this is. This is Final Crisis and Forever Evil. And I'm sure you're probably going, well, geez, Maginoni, how's this Final Crisis? It's nothing close to Final Crisis because this is called Forever Evil. Well, let me put this into perspective here for you. In Forever Crisis, they took out heroes. They either twisted them into something evil, or they eliminated them from the playing field, such as Batman, Green Lantern, and Martian Manhunter. Martian Manhunter they killed, and that was a primary focus because they killed the Martian Manhunter. What do they think they're doing with Forever Evil? They removed the superheroes from the playing field, and in upcoming issues, Martian Manhunter is going to be crucial to what's going on because he escapes. I don't know. While you're going to argue the point, well, yeah, that's a very loose connection. When have you seen Marvel recently make it that, loose? You have Civil War, which is hero versus hero. Then you have Dark Reign, the villains in charge. Villains in charge. Then you have Fear itself, which was the god a god awakening, destroying things. Then you had oh gosh darn, I can't remember the Secret Invasion with the scrolls. it's not even the same. And the thing is, DC did this thing in 2008, 2009. So like, if DC were to do this, like maybe if that was a story from the 80s, and then they decided, well, we want to do a modern day take on it, I would have cut them some slack. I would have still pointed out the fact that this is not. I mean, this is a money grab, but I would have said, you know what? I can respect the decision that you want to do like a redoing, updating it, doing something interesting with it. 2008, 2009. This is a 100% money grab. And it's not even that, and they didn't even bother to put effort into it. That's what pisses me off to no I mean, it's unbelievable amounts of anger and disappointment that I'm getting from this. Now, my other problem is with these books. Some of these books are great tie-ins, other ones are not. You know, like for an example, Scarecrow, great tie-in. Two-Face, well, I mean, it was a decent tie-in. This has nothing to do with it. This could have had something to do with it. Trigon, I mean, not Trigon, but what's his name? Triton could have had that, nothing to do with it. Or Trigon. No, I keep saying Trigon, but I'm getting that confused with the anime guy. Penguin, great opportunity, lost opportunity. Arcane, who cares about Arcane? How does this relate to Forever Evil? It doesn't. And that's the point. They don't have a focus. And then you have Lex Luthor, who's obviously going to be a key person in this. What do they do with him? Oh, it's just a moment in time between Lex Luthor gets out of prison and before he meets Cord. And I'm like, all you really did was you wasted how many pages, 20-some pages, just to show how much of a badass, evil Lex Luthor is. And how petty he is about Superman. That's all you did. You should have done something better to tie in the story. Maybe if you want to have a couple pages with him getting out of prison and then leading up to that event, that's fine. Where, the plane goes down. But then, not the plane, but the helicopter. But the rest of the book should have been his feelings about where is Superman and preparing for repelling the rest of the heroes. And I just don't understand why DC fails at this basic concept of plotting out your story and taking the time to carefully make every move possible to give you the best enjoyment possible. They don't know how to do it. Now, if that wasn't enough, this is where we're going to start going to some spoiler territory here. You have this group of badass supervillains. You have Ultraman, who moves the moon, destroys, causes tremendous amounts of damage because of that. Power Grid goes out, snorting kryptonite, freeing every single supervillain. And, like you have the people getting killed, right? Prison guards getting killed. You have Nightwing getting beat up and then held up to display saying, hey, Nightwing is Dick Grayson. You have them standing in front of every single supervillain saying, we killed the superheroes and here's proof. And then you have Dr. Monocle, whatever his name is, who dares to stand up against the crime syndicate, and what happens? He gets killed. Boom, obliterated. What a build-up. They did everything by the numbers to prove that this is a incredibly evil and powerful superhero team. And then they come out and say they killed the Justice League. All three teams. And you know what? I'm willing to accept that none of us accepted for a second that this is that those heroes were going to be dead. I understand that and I accept that. But what was the interesting part is, where were they? They had all these articles, where are the heroes? And then the writer for the Justice League of America came out, did an interview, and he told us where they are. And that is where I table flipped it at work, threw my monitor, and said, I'm so done with this nonsense. So before I read that article, I thought to myself, where could the heroes be? You know, I thought, okay, well, one possibility is maybe they sent the heroes to Apocalypse. You have the Dark Seed thing going on there. It could have been interesting. Maybe they sent them to another dimension or another world, like maybe Earth 2. Maybe they sent them to Earth 3 somehow. I, you know, that way the heroes have to fight back and figure out a way to come back. And I was thinking that would be really cool. And then I'm thinking back, going, these heroes, they killed countless characters in their universe. So what is that universe going to be like? Who's left standing? And I was just getting more and more intrigued by that possibility, especially with that leaked picture of the city on fire. Then I thought, okay, maybe they did kill the heroes. Maybe every one of them died, and that's why the Justice League 3000 is doing their issues, because they were going to come back, save the day. Maybe resurrect the heroes. Maybe right before the killing blows occurred, they do something to offset that, and they save and spare the heroes. So, I was thinking those possibilities. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever imagine them to say, oh, and this is the spoiler part, they're in prison. Prison. What type of idiot supervillain of that kind of destruction level takes your most powerful enemies, the enemies that could turn the tide back, and you put them in prison? And, you can tell me all you want till you're blue in the face that, well, geez, man, this isn't like any ordinary prison because, their powers are going to be altered and blah, 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 blah. You can put Superman tied to a bed of kryptonite, and I guarantee you he's going to get away. And that's the problem here. You build up these characters to be utter evil. Why would you put them in prison? There is no reason to put them in prison. If they were so willing to destroy their other world and kill those other heroes, why didn't you kill these heroes that meant absolutely nothing to you? And that's when I realized this book has no focus, has no true editorial direction. It's a weird fan fiction that Jeff Johns created, to, build up something to generate a huge amount of sales, the most amount of sales he can possibly come up with without giving us a lot of story content. And I'm just going, because Jeff Johns is getting a percentage of sales. He's not getting a straight cut. He's getting percentage on top of his space. And then I'm thinking, this, when you combine that with a recycled idea, how dare they trick us and making us think that this is the best they can do. This is ridiculous. This is unacceptable. And the sad thing is this. I mean, I've read a lot of reviews. And, maybe some reviewer out there is talking about it. But I have not seen one reviewer comment, Faces of Evil. What the hell? I mean, it's possible they all forgot. But, I think at the same time, they're a little bit worried about not getting their free copies. And that's why they're not talking smack. And that's why you're not going to see too many people talking smack about this. Because I'm calling it like it is. Money grab, recycled idea, and, to me, it doesn't matter now how good this book is. I don't care how interesting this becomes. I don't care how much how much destruction and awesomeness that this could potentially be. Because I know in the back of my head, these supervillains, the crime syndicate, are chumps. They threw the heroes in jail and telling everybody that they're dead, and they can be big and bad, killing a D-level superhero villain that nobody even knows about. I'm sure people have to Wikipedia him. And yet they can't do the hard thing. They can't do the difficult task of eliminating their number one threat. Or at least putting them into a position where, yeah, they're probably dead because they're in another alternate universe and they're not getting out because we destroyed the skull. So they can't come back. I would have accepted that. Prison. Jesus, what is this? In my third grade, you know? This reminds me of a group of like 8th graders that come together to write a story, and they can't figure out how to tell the story, so they splinter it off, and then whoever's in charge doesn't give them direction, and they come up with this nonsense. This is utter crap. I'm only buying this because of review purposes now. This is dead to me. This is meaningless. It's a joke. Anyways, that's my take, and that's my rant on Forever Evil. The biggest scam I've ever seen in comic history, or at least modern history. So, let me know what you guys think down below. Buy Infinity. It's just a superior story. And we'll have more reviews later. So until next.